Yo, Melly Man, what's up? From BX to you a lady fan. It's your man. What's up? This is for the gangsters. Shout out to the gangsters. Postman posted with them gangsters. My homies be on gang time. All my homies throwing gang signs. I keep it real, I cannot fake mine. This is for the gangsters. Shout out to the gangsters. Postman posted with them gangsters. My homies be on gang time.
Professor Melly Mail, the hood postman, you know the vibe. So who I'm here with today?
Prator.
Prator. I see you got your Compton gear on, man.
Yep.
That's saying a whole lot, man. So let's get into some Compton history, because historically Compton is known for quite a few things, and it has benefited not only Compton but the world.
Right.
Through its acumen of sports, entertainment, and all other everyday activities, right? But today we're going to talk about the history of the gang culture, and you and I both are well aware of it because we come from that 70s,
Right.
that 70s era. And what I want to go back to, right, and I know you can speak on it because I was there and you were there, was that first year
Man.
at Dominguez.
Man.
Tell us the year.
Actually, for me, it started the summer of 75 because I was short and I had to go to summer school just to get in. And that's when I got my first taste of just how my particular culture changed to where what I'm going to have to deal with going forward. That's when it was constantly in my face because, as you know, Compton is a small city. Everybody knows everybody. There's nowhere really to run and hide from where you came from or who you're affiliated with, because everybody knows everybody. And yeah, when I first got there, it was scary because you knew you could just about feel it. So when you walked up in there and they know you pretty much was with the other team.
So when you say the other team, at that time, what team would that have been? Because there was no in-hood, right?
No. Well, at that particular time, Compton was split into two things. You only had two teams. You had red ones and blue ones. And pretty much wherever you lived at, if it was predominantly a certain way, that was your team. Now, you could kind of skate by it if you consciously stayed away from individuals or almost everybody you know, but it's kind of crazy to do that because you knew everybody.
Guilt by association.
Oh, yes, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. But, yeah, it was strange because as much as because the Lord knows you wasn't going to go in there and say you was from somewhere else, knowing you in there with all of them, and they right there in front of your face, but at the same time, they knew who you was, they knew of you, and they knew pretty much how things was going to go, especially when they had the numbers like that.
So when did it come to your attention that you would actually have to defend where you grew up at, or this because of a certain street or area?
Day one.
Day one.
Day one. It was common knowledge. As a matter of fact, if I didn't, it was brought back to my memory quickly how different it was by my friend Michael Radford when he went to the bathroom.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. Michael Radford went to the bathroom just to go to the bathroom and got tossed up like a salad because there was like 20 of them in there. And Michael really wasn't with it as much as we was. But at the same time, you pretty much was judged on what side of town you came from.
So wait a minute. You mean we had particular bathrooms?
Oh yeah, I can honestly say I didn't go to the bathroom at Dominguez for at least about a year and a half. I went behind the gym or behind the bleachers. Not necessarily knowing if it would happen like that, but especially after Michael Radford, you knew you stood a chance of it might.
For the purpose of those who's watching this video, let's clarify a couple of things. There was Fruittown, there was Ludus Park, and then there was Washington Street, and I think Harris Hustlers.
Well, Washington Street pretty much had that sold up. As far as the Harris, I don't remember that. I remember Washington Street. I remember Shamrock and all of them. I even think Time Bomb and all of them was from there.
Okay.
But yeah, Washington Street, pretty much Fruit Town.
So, what I'm trying to establish here, there was no Lime, there was no Mob,
No.
there was no M.
No.
It was just
No.
Ludus Park.
No, as a matter of fact, Compton Bishops came a little bit after that. Stutterbox brother Butch and them.
And they were there also.
Yeah.
And also,
Stutterbox
I can't leave these guys out. Compton Linwood Bounty Hunters.
Water Brown Rags.
Harvey Brown.
Yeah, Harvey Brown. Them. Yeah, Water Brown Rags. I know
So
that.
we had about anywhere from 4 to 5 different Damu sets, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, how many Crip sets would you say it was?
There wasn't even a Crip set there. You had people sparingly spread out. You really didn't have a Crip set there at that time. Period.
I agree, because it was only like a few
Oh,
guys.
maybe. I think did Midnight come later?
He came after I came.
Okay, so when me and you there, you, me, I don't too much really.
It was my homie Sugar Bear, my homie Maddox was Anthony Maddox.
Okay, I remember him,
We
yeah.
called it Karate Man.
Right.
And my homie Big Mac, and my homie BJ briefly, but we had Jeffrey Barber and Harold Gamble was Big Jeff.
Yeah.
That was my 2 big homeboys, but they really never. But they had my back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they
at the same time, even if they did, it was definitely on the low. Definitely on the low, because any type of you even insinuating that you on that other team and you gonna have problems.
So, as from your side of town, who would you say? You know what I mean? Because we was really still trying to figure out that because we was Compton Crips,
Right.
but all the different hoods that popped up later on wasn't in exist. I mean, Oaks Park, of course, was there.
Yeah, they was there.
And then you guys were on that side, Penez, right?
Penn family. But at one time they was red too.
Really?
Yes.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
come
Penn
back to
was
that.
red before it went blue.
We'll come back to that. So, so you could definitely, our numbers were very,
Oh,
very
man.
short. So
Yeah.
tell us about some of the experiences that you had, particularly.
The experiences I had, basically, I was very fortunate in the aspect as far as, and I didn't know this at the time, but you have to understand that a lot of those guys who was on that team that I haven't seen since Kelly were still really your friend. They wouldn't say it in front of people, even stuff that I've just found out, like I was telling my brother Bubs when I had a conversation with EB, with Eric Brown, at the last Dominguez reunion before the pandemic hit. And there was things that they had did and they had said that had kind of steered trouble away from us, that it was coming. But you didn't know that at the time.
True.
You didn't know that at the time, but that is about the only thing, that and the martial arts that I was involved with at the time, and a member of that particular club too, that had a good amount of people there that you really didn't want to run up on, because all of us were into it at that time.
Talk about the martial arts.
Well, I was with the Dragons. That was Kim Thomas, Doc Mid, who I ain't seen in a long time, Mundo Limon, who studied Taekwondo with Mr. Pade in Long Beach.
Leonard?
Leonard was what we call the Shotokan. They were exactly the opposite of us. It was almost like they were the Bloods of the martial arts, and the Dragons were the Crips of the martial arts. And that's how that was.
What about half step?
Big Money Half. Big Money Half Step was on our side. Big Money Half he was working out with the Dragons with us. Him and later Joe Stein and them, and all of them was working out with us.
What about Garland Bill, Fox?
Fox. Good old Fox. Fox from the Bananas. Because that's how he was running with him in the beginning. So was I. And yeah, Fox was with it. Fox is a good friend to have too.
Can we also add Willie McKinnon in that equation?
Start shit Willie, that's what they call it. Did he ever get out, by the way?
Not that I know of. I haven't heard anything.
Not yet.
But yeah, Willie McKinnon and all them, those are cats that, man, and you got to understand, for those cats, it's an extremely difficult side because they're friendly and associated with us, but at the same time, there was no Ducky Hood then, and there was no they in blood hood. So it was difficult for them.
Because they actually live in the Bishop Hood.
Yes, yeah, they did.
So when you say you was part of the Dragons,
yes,
what was that like? What was that karate?
Was great. That's some of the best time in my life, man. That's something because the way that the Dragons ran when Kim Thomas ran it, you had 3 or 4 different styles that participated in it. I was more of a Taekwondo man. Kim was more of a Chinese form type. Limon was Taekwondo also. Doc Mid was more Kempo in between. So you had multiple forms there, but it was one big club that we all worked out in this garage right over there behind the old McDonald's.
Would you say that this kept the cheat up off you,
Yes.
so to speak?
Yes, because if you know that, okay, he with them, he's also he might be with them because, you know, you're not broadcasting nothing. And he might be with them, but he with them, and we might have to deal with them if we come to him. So that had to be a factor in their decision making.
So there was a myth. I don't know if it's a myth. I think I didn't witness it, but I heard about it. Mm-hmm. That Lee Prator kicked the basketball rim.
No, I did not kick the rim. I kicked the chain.
You kicked the chain.
I kicked the chain. You know how you got the basketball rim, and you know how you got the chain. I stood straight up under what's the name without running and jumped up and kicked the chain.
So that
Which wasn't far from the rim, but I kicked the chain.
But that was like a vertical.
Yes, just straight stem.
Which is very hard to do.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was, and I'm quite sure. At the same time too, because you know, gunplay wasn't as prevalent as it is now. You know, back in them days, people got out.
It was about your skills.
Yeah, it's about your skills. If you had a problem, and that even with the people who wasn't in the arts, it was more of a head-up thing, you know, or you would get passed around and jumped on for a particular reason that say you claiming, or you did something on the streets and you come back that Monday through the weekend, that now you got to deal with it like that. But more or less, it was more or less of a physical thing.
Also, it was a deterrent. Stay away.
Because let me tell you this too, and I remember this. I was really good then. Really good.
Yes, you were.
And let me tell you this. Let me put it to you like this. If I would have went to the bathroom, and if I would have got jumped, they would have got me, but they would have known they was in a fight.
That part right there.
Oh yeah, they would have known they was in a fight. But that was one of the. We used to go to Long Beach Arena. I still think they have the internationals in Long Beach still.
Wow.
And we used to go to tournaments down there. Last tournament I went to, I remember Lenny Ferguson won the whole thing.
Wow.
I remember that. I remember that vividly. And that's why I saw Eric Landfield, the movie producer, used to be on Room 222.
Okay.
He was in the arts.
And Jim Kelly had opened up a school too, right?
Well, Lenny Ferguson.
Okay.
Had opened up a couple of them on Long Beach Boulevard. First you had Ted Clemens, who was always on Long Beach Boulevard with Taekwondo. That's where Billy Counts and all them went. That's where Billy Counts, King Nut.
King Nut.
King Nut, your homie King Nut went to Ted Clemens.
Elmer.
Yeah. He's pretty good too.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
King Nut.
Yeah.
Also, we had the Compton House of Champs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever go there?
No.
That was the boxing.
Nah, didn't go to that. What we did, I remember we were so good and so recognized. I remember right before when they were opening up the Boys and Girls Club, the one on Santa Fe. When it was brand new, the Dragons were supposed to go in there and teach. I'll never forget that. Kim was supposed to go in there and teach. Somehow that fell through, and he ended up moving out, going to the Valley teaching, something like that.
Cool. So let's come back to the Panez family, man. I don't want to skip past that part.
Yeah.
So explain that. You said they were on the red side.
Well, let me put it to you like this: the family wasn't, but there was definitely Panez Paru. Family came after Panez Paru.
Okay.
Yeah, the family wasn't. Their family was Crips. The Donald McCaney's of the world, the Wolves and Kevin Smiths and all that.
Right.
But
Elbow.
The elbow. But before that, there was Panez Paru. Used to be right on the side of the wall. You remember our food market?
Yes.
You walk down there, you see Panez Paru written right on it.
So who was Panez? Was that Edward Gwynn?
Yeah, was that Gwen and them?
Bernard
I know it's
Asbury,
Bernard Asbury,
And-
Naughty,
Ray Robinson,
Ray Robinson,
Moncho.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simi was too little there.
Yeah.
That's Dirty Bird that was from
Well,
Mississippi.
David Dove.
It was Pyro.
Yeah, David Dove.
And the big brother.
Yeah, sure was.
Yeah.
Sure was.
Moncho and them, Bobby
Sure
Fields.
was.
So what was Edward Gwynn?
Edward Gwynn was a rook.
I think he was Lewis Park.
I think he was Lewis Park.
'Cause
Him
I
and
remember-
him and Dorier Wiseman. Now.
Yeah,
I remember Dorier.
Yeah. Him and Dorier Wiseman.
So- When cause I used to see Edward Gwynn at Dominguez, right?
Yeah.
And I used to see him. He had the Dutch boy hat
Yeah.
with the two-tone leather jacket. I said, man, I got to get me one of
Yeah.
them. But anyway, do you remember what happened to him?
Yes. Got killed in a record shop. To somebody who used to work out with the Dragons.
Really?
Yes. Sure did. Got a job there. And that's how he got shot. At the record shop. I haven't seen that guy since then.
That record shop was located on Bradfield?
It was Alondra.
Alondra in Bradfield?
No, Alondra more or less off Pan Ave.
Okay.
It was
Between
across the street.
Pan Ave and
Yeah,
Bradfield.
by the bike shop.
Yeah, between
Yeah.
the carburetor shop and
Yeah,
right
yeah.
between Panez and Bradfield.
Yeah. That was a shock too.
I never knew what Edward Gwynn was. I know he didn't speak to me at school. So,
Oh yeah, he was
so
with it.
that
Yeah, he was
yeah.
left-handed.
Yeah.
And with it.
Yeah. So, okay, moving on from there. So, Panez family. So, tell us about Panez family.
Oh man, that was the beginning to where, in my opinion, that particular side of Compton started getting its legs. Because you had some characters over there.
Explain when you say legs.
What I mean, because it was between the U.S. split and some going to Atlantic, some going to the South, some going to Spooktown, and being that before that, Bloods was all over there. Same thing with the Boulevard, like I told you in the last interview, when we went over there, that was much later, but by the legs from that point, that particular side of Compton went Crip.
When you mention U.S., they used to call it you in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that we get guys that's so defensive of U.S., they don't want to claim that part of it? I mean, you know, let me say this, right? Difference don't mean deficient or less than. It's
Right.
just different.
Right.
It don't make you less than. So
Right.
if that's part of your history,
Yeah.
why would you have a problem with it? You know, it's beyond
They
me.
shouldn't, because they had a lot to be respected for. Because I remember the U.S. and they really did. Their whole mantra, pretty much when it started, was a neutral set. It began like that,
Mm-hmm.
but then you start having, as you do with any type of sets in Compton, you have your little infiltrations and your little splits and your what's names. I was talking with Bubs the other day about some dudes that I knew were ruse that I never thought would ever even entertain the thought of going to the dark side. That after years passed, some of them did, and vice versa. Some came to our side. Some came to our side that was ruse at first. So to me, it's really nothing because they were U.S. I remember the little U.S. buttons they used to have on their little hats and stuff.
Yeah, I remember Allen Jeffco, Jimmy Ellis, and
Oh yeah,
Jimmy,
Allen. I knew which way Allen went.
yeah, Jimmy Allen and all them, and
Yeah, Wolf
Yeah.
and them too. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
they would,
Alvin Trezor and them too.
yeah. So
Yeah, Alvin came to
Yeah.
Panez.
Yeah, sure did.
Panez family.
Yeah,
With
that's
the
pretty
split.
much That's pretty much how
He was the leader of them.
That's
And
pretty
he
much
came-
when Compton went Crip.
Oh, hey everybody, it's me, Bodacious. No, but the thing, especially with Penez, I wanted to say that it was nothing to be ashamed of with the U.S. and the split. It just Crips that came to Compton, and they just started getting the numbers.
Yeah.
You know, and you had to remember, Pyrus was already pushing the line out there.
Sure was.
Like years before they got there.
Yeah.
So when the U.S. kind of did the split, you had reputable cats that stayed on both sides. You had
Yeah.
Alcatraz Van that came to Penez family.
Yeah.
You know, and he was the leader of them.
Sure
you
did.
had like
Benson Jones.
Benson Jones.
Larry.
And Benson kind of stayed in the neutral thing.
Yeah, he did.
Because Hank was his best friend.
Yeah.
And Hank stayed Pyru.
Yeah.
You know, I think Hank in prison out here somewhere. Big
What?
Hank.
He got out?
But he died.
What about Anthony Atkinson?
Anthony Atkinson. Yeah, stayed Pyru.
Park.
Yeah, he stayed Ludas Park.
Yeah.
He didn't waver none.
No.
Now his brother Put Put
Yeah.
turned Crip.
Yeah.
Because that was a younger generation. That was my
Yeah.
age. So me, Put Put, and all them, you know what I'm saying, and David Lemon and all of my age,
Yeah.
all them turned Crip.
Yeah.
And Gangsta Ben and all them were there at that time when
Yeah.
it was Crips.
Yeah.
Because Timothy Blunt turned Crip.
Yeah. That's
You know what I'm
beginning of the
saying?
South.
Timothy
Yeah.
Blunt and
That was
Bullet
the
was
beginning
real
of
good.
the
Yeah,
players.
that was
Yeah.
the beginning of the South Side. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, like that.
Yeah.
Which you can't take that from none of them dudes.
No.
Because all of them were reputable cats.
Yeah, they was with it too.
Yeah, at the drop of a dime. So it's nothing to be
Yeah,
ashamed
Red
of.
and them went to South. Red and them went to
Spooktown.
Spooktown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Red and all
Red
them went to
and them
Spooktown.
went to Spooktown. Sure did.
Yeah, it was nothing to be ashamed of.
Only one man, only one. When I go back that far, and remember who was really Crips back then, there's only a few. Norris Dunlap. Norris Dunlap was a Crip before all that.
Yeah.
Charles Newsom.
Charlie Noob.
Charles Newsom, his brother. All these guys did.
Was Robert Earl Charlie Noob brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know these are some serious Crips because they had regular names. They didn't
Yeah.
have no street names.
No.
Charles Newsom, Richard Newsom, Robert Earl Newsom. The only one that had a street name was their older brother Cheese that got
From the
killed.
Grandy. He was from the Grandies, yeah.
Yes, and but as far as I remember, Norris and John Dunlap and Jimmy. I forgot Jimmy's last name though, because he used to run with Norris. And those was the only ones that was really Crips at that time.
So there was also a part of Penez that we got to attach this history to him is the Majestics.
Yes.
Started
Yeah.
and that started with Boulevard Rod
Yeah,
Parker.
Rod
right?
Parker.
Hold on, wait. I don't want to get it construed because Penez family was low riding before the Parkers started coming over there.
Okay.
They started when the Parkers came over there. Penez
Oh, that's
family
right.
was already established because you had my brother Dean.
Yeah, that's right.
Wild Man Spud.
With the Biscayne
Wayne,
and
yeah,
all that.
right. Wayne.
Yeah.
You had Donnie Starworth. You had Donnie Bernard. You had, but see, it was all mixed up too. It
Donnie
wasn't-
Bernard
and-
from Fruitown.
and-
Yeah, right.
And don't ever forget you had Big Oscar. over
Yeah,
there.
Big Oscar, big old
Fat Oscar?
Yeah,
Big Mexican Oscar.
some of the cleanest cars in
Yeah,
Compton.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's
had
right.
Yeah.
Moulton. You had these cars.
Yeah, you had Molden and them. You sure
These
did.
were just car guys.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And Penez family started as just like a group of guys going to picnics.
Tall boy in them.
Yeah, yeah, Jimmy.
So at what point did the Majestics pick up at?
Well, it wasn't the Majestic, it was the Suburban Tees.
Yeah.
It was the Suburban Tees first and the Uniques. And the Uniques was Dedra, and they were unique on
Yeah,
feet at first.
yeah.
And they didn't have cars. We was on bicycles back then.
Sure
'Cause
was.
Wayne with the Green Thunderbird had a bike first.
Sure was.
Remember, we had bikes first. So that's why I say Penez family started when it was just a group of guys together building cars.
Yeah.
But when
Sure
Wolf
did.
and them moved over
Yeah,
there,
that's
that's
when-
when the Crips started.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Big Wolf and them came over there. And that was about
And
73,
then your boy took it to a different level, Donald McCain.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really took it to a different level there.
Exactly. Don Juan. Shout out to Don
Yeah.
Juan.
Yeah, man.
Free
Yeah.
Don Juan, if I may say
Free
so
Don
myself.
Juan,
Yeah, him and David, and then the whole had Mark too.
Yeah, well, see, this is the thing. We had chop shops at 13, 14. Donald McCaney was in the 8th grade, had a 55 bomb with 2 credits on the side.
Mhm.
His daddy gave it to him because Mr. McCaney always was well off.
Yeah, TRW.
Yeah, millionaire. I
Well,
think. Yeah,
TRW, I
right.
remember.
So we started low riding, like I said, with bikes first. We had the bikes with the sissy poles and the lights on the truck
Yeah.
lights and stuff like that. Like, you know, and then the cars came, and that had to be 70.
Yeah, because,
69, 70.
matter of fact, you cut up the carts to take them off to make the forks.
Yeah, right,
Instead.
right.
On the bicycle,
Yeah,
to make the
right.
fork where they,
To
yeah.
make forks. And we was creative.
I remember that.
So that's when the car club came out. It was the Suburban Tees, and you had cats from L.A. You had Lizard, you had Power Rules,
Yeah.
You had Crips and everything. They weren't even Power considered. Well, they were Power Rules then.
Was it
because they were Power Rules boys.
Leaping Lonnie, Leaping Lizard, one of them.
You had Terry Carter, Terry Tarzan.
Yeah, sure did.
And these Rat. Then the Parkers came.
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
John and Rod and all them came.
So what year did the Majestics hit then?
Majestic started. Hodge and them started that, and Kevin was supposed to be the president. I think Kevin said he ran out with the money or something. I see the video he did, which we said that. But it was the Suburban Tees up until I would say
73. I think 74,
somewhere
75.
around there. I'm not
is
exactly
when
sure.
I started seeing Majestics.
I would say 75 to be comfortable.
Okay, comfortable.
You know what I'm saying? And they started the Majestic.
I think wasn't Kazoo one of them? Kazoo was our age. Parker's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, Calvin.
Calvin.
Yeah.
With glass house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you had Donald, the older brother.
And
Donald,
Jimmy Allen, too.
Carlos,
So,
yeah.
so the
Jimmy
reason,
Allen, all of was Majestic.
the reason why I bring it up is because I have a picture that's on Panez with Rod Parker sitting on the back of that Continental he bought in
that
'79.
picture, too. I got that
Sweet Sensation on the back of the game.
That was 78.
That was '78.
And that was 78 Continental.
Yeah. The same year, that was the first time I ever seen somebody did
Somebody
that. Went to the car lot, purchased a brand new car,
Cut it.
took it to the cut shop,
Cut it.
I
put
think
them
Kevin cut
Zetas
it.
on it,
If I'm mistaken, Kevin cut it because Kevin
And-
was really good at hydraulics.
and he set a brand new precedent at
Yeah,
that
he did.
point.
Yeah.
And on that picture, I don't know, I can't remember who's all on it, but I know Rod's there. I think Marcellus is
Marcellus is on it.
Yeah.
Dirty Wayne. I got the picture in my phone.
in. Okay,
You know what I'm saying? Dirty Wayne
we'll add that picture then.
and Mike Trasvan.
Okay.
All of them was on there. Yeah.
That was a good old days, though.
Yeah.
Old man Curtis. I don't think Curtis was on that picture though, but they all of them used to come on Panez. You know what I'm
So, Tick, when did you guys take on, or what made you guys move towards the NAs, the neighborhood Crips?
Now-
What was that?
Now, technically, because I'm running, me and Fox and them running with y'all. The neighborhood thing came through Bubs and them. I actually switched from running with the Tanners to the neighborhood. Me and Pee Wee pretty much changed places. The Bubs and them was doing all the hood stuff, even though I was right there, but I was so used to running with Tanners.
Uh-huh.
And the neighborhood thing came. When did me and Pee Wee switch, Bubs? Right after
76.
the blue, about 76?
76.
Yeah, right after the blue coats.
We
And
must have blue coats.
right after the blue coats. And then I'm living over there all the years. I said, I'm going to stay here. That's when I stopped going over there to the Tanner every day.
Let's take a moment.